for Language Development and Preservation, National Language Agency, the Ministry of Elementary and Intermediate Education, Ibu Dora Amalia. Good afternoon, Ibu Dora Amalia.
Afternoon. Hello.
Hello. It's nice to meet you. And by the way, her name is quite the same with Ibu Dora, so this one I would like to call her Ibu Amalia. A lecturer from UIN Raden Fatah Palembang. How are you, Bu Amalia?
I'm good, thank you. How about you, Steve?
I'm good, thank you very much. So before we proceed, I would like to make certain that when I call Ibu Amalia, I'm meaning for the one in Palembang, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I would like to start from Ibu Dora first. For the people in the ministry and also the agency, what will you guys call? What is the mother tongue itself?
Yeah, well, thank you, Steve. So before I answer your question, let me explain what the term mother tongue is really means. Yeah, in a very general sense, mother tongue is someone's native language or the first language of someone. Yeah. So it is. Sorry. It is commonly the first language that is taught by parents to their children, or a language that is used mostly in a family. And then in the broader sense, especially if we associate it with Indonesian linguistic perspective, the mother tongue is the regional language or local languages itself. Because in Indonesia, the mother tongue in the most family is the regional language. So if we talk about the mother tongue here, we talk about the regional language.
Okay, so you talk about the regional language, but can it happen that actually, for example, I am a descent from Nias people, but my parents at home never speak Nias, so what is my mother language?
Yeah. Of course, the trend is nowadays seem to be going the opposite. In more and more family use Indonesian as their native language. So your mother tongue is Indonesian, of course.
Okay. So
yes.
Yeah. Although apparently, ideally, my mother tongue should be Nias language, right?
Yeah, it should be like that.
And I would like to move on to Ibu Amalia for the people in Palembang. Mostly, do people speak in Palembang language or now Indonesian?
For me, myself, if I'm talking to my students in a formal situation, of course, I will speak English and Bahasa Indonesia because I'm teaching English. However, if I speak to them in informal situation like outside the classroom, in our room, it means that I can speak to them using Bahasa Indonesia. Bahasa Palembang. I prefer using Bahasa Palembang because it shows that we have some closeness to the students, and also for my peers, I prefer.
Okay, so I think it's a little bit breaking. The connection is a little bit breaking with Ibu Amalia. So, but I can get the answer that actually in formal situation using English and Indonesian, but in informal situation with peers, with students, you prefer to use the language of Palembang. But I would like to know, nowadays, is there more people speaking in Indonesian or even other language, or even in Palembang local language now, or is it still the same, just like before, Bu Amalia?
Because you know that even school, especially in some government-owned schools, students tend to speak Palembang language. Yeah, so that's why I think it's even. If they are studying in international school, of course it will be very different. That's why I think it's just 50-50 between those who use Bahasa Indonesia and also English, and also those who use Palembang language.
Okay, so it's quite balanced, but we also, of course, we want to maintain either the balance or even the ability, the skill to speak both in local languages, because honestly, I live in West Java and until today I cannot speak Sundanese really nicely, so I'm pretty sorry for people in West Java. But I would like to know for both Ibu Dora and also Ibu Amalia, what is the importance, or how important is it for everybody, both Indonesians, people from the regions, and also for the whole global community, to preserve their own mother language? Starting from Ibu Dora.
Thank you. Well, I can say for sure it is very important, of course, yeah, because it is the communication tools. It is the main function of the language, any language. So we can elaborate other functions like cultural identity. We have hundreds of regional languages in Indonesia. According to data from National Language Agency, we have 817 local languages. So, according to the language mapping program, yeah, conducted by Badan Bahasa, and with this background, a mother tongue can play a role as cultural identity. Of course, we can say that if someone speaks Japanese, for general, then he is or she is a Japanese, although it is not always like that. Yeah. So, like me, I'm from other region than Java, but I can speak Japanese a little. And in line with the cultural identity, a mother tongue also functions to enhance the emotional connection. This often serves as a medium for expression, to show your emotion. You can see people easily use their mother tongue if he is angry. Yeah. So it is more expressive when you use your mother tongue whenever you are in anger. So it is also can build. Am I right?
You're very right.
It also build a deep interpersonal relation. It helps individual to feel sense of belonging with and comfort with their community. And in bilingual situation, like Indonesia is a typical bilingual situation. One people almost use more than one language. So like in Indonesia, this kind of situation can give cognitive benefits. Research shows that bilingual individuals or persons often have better cognitive flexibility because language is a system. If you use more than one language, you use more than one system. You can imagine how the brain works when you use the two language. So children who are educated in their mother tongue also, especially in early years, also or tend to perform better in academic because they can understand better in their mother tongue. So multilingualism is very important in education. That's what I can tell you about how important mother tongue for us.
Okay, Ibu Amalia, anything to add?
Yeah, I do agree with Ibu Dora because my son, for example, when we went to Australia, he couldn't speak English at all. However, when he was there, he could speak English very well. But when we came back to Palembang, he was never taught Bahasa Palembang. However, he could speak Bahasa Palembang in 1 week because at that time, we went near COVID, and that's why after 1 week the school shut down. So I think that's why because the environment trained people to be able to speak the Palembang language. I think, and in Palembang right now, in elementary school, the local content subject is Bahasa Palembang. However, the Bahasa Palembang taught was not the one that we usually used. It is called Bahasa Palembang Alus, which I don't understand myself. I think it's quite interesting to learn. That's why because my son and my daughter are in the highest level, so they didn't get the local content of Bahasa Palembang. So I think it's a good way to maintain the regular language or Bahasa mother tongue in Palembang, using local content subject, Bahasa Palembang as the local content subject.
Okay, but it is interesting. Maybe Bu Dora, can you give us some insight about that? I mean, the language that is being taught at school is not the one that we use on the daily basis. I mean, maybe it's more like in the formal situation, just like in Indonesian language. For example, nowadays the students know more about the informal ones instead of the formal ones, because the formal is so far from the informal version. Compared to English, it's so quote unquote easy, right, Bu Amalia? But in regional languages, how to make it more easier for people to get what we need to learn from schools, Bu Dora?
Yeah, well, it even suggested to use regional language or the native language or mother tongue in early years in school, because the research shows that it can enhance the knowledge of the school children. So it is even suggested we don't differentiate between the formal and informal situation in school, especially in early years of school. And there is interesting fact from the UNESCO that nowadays UNESCO in this February, UNESCO released data that according to UNESCO there are 8,324 languages spoken in the world, and 7,000 languages are still in use. So while the others are heading towards or have already experienced extinction. So UNESCO also notes that nearly 37% of learners in low and middle income countries are not taught in their mother tongue. So a language they are taught in a language they don't understand. So can you imagine what the result of this kind of education? That's why in Ministry of Elementary and Intermediate Education suggests that teachers should use mother tongue or native language in early years of school.
Okay, because language is something not only you are not only learning about it, but you need to get used to it. Sometimes it's like riding a bicycle. Once you get the gist, you will be able to drive it all the time. Something like that. And this is very interesting. Bu Amalia revealed also the challenge that actually faced by many students. I mean, if they have the parents speaking mother tongue at home, it's nice, but if they don't, but they have to face something at school like that, local content, it can be a challenge. But talking about challenge, both Ibu Amalia and also Ibu Dora, apparently, let's talk honestly. What is the greatest challenge that we have in Indonesia in preserving the mother tongue? Starting from Bu Amalia.
The greatest challenge in preserving mother tongue is because Indonesia is rich with languages. Even from my region, I'm from Ranjak. It is in Ogan Ilir. From one village to another village, the language is different. So I think because there are too many languages in Indonesia, it makes us difficult to preserve the language. I think that's my opinion on the greatest challenge.
Okay, the diversity, there are a lot of languages, not only the bigger ones, but also the variations, the smaller variations. But I believe that, it doesn't mean that we need to cut down the languages and make a more general one, right, Bu Dora? I believe that the language agency has the answer too for that kind of challenge. And before answering what needs to be done for that challenge that Bu Amalia have just stated, what are the other challenges that the language agency knows too?
Yeah. So nowadays we are seeing more and more language are going to be extinct. So it is our main concern. So by preserving the mother tongue, it can contribute to preserving our culture and heritage. It can contribute to the richness of linguistic diversity. That is one of our prominent heritage in Indonesia, because Indonesia is also and always be a haven for linguistic researchers. So each language have unique ways to understanding word, and losing any language mean losing a piece of human knowledge and culture. So in Badan Bahasa, we already have many programs in preserving regional languages. Like this year, we call the festival Hari Bahasa Ibu International. It is celebrated in every branch office of National Language Agency or Badan Bahasa. We have 30 branch office in almost in all provinces in Indonesia. And the fair or festival will include the performance of the children in their mother tongue. The performance can be in the form of storytelling, drama, or even stand-up comedy. So, and beside that, we also have a book fair consisting of storybooks or textbooks written in the regional language. So many things we have done and we are still doing in preserving local or regional languages in Indonesia. It is one of our main tasks in Badan Bahasa.
Okay, that is the main one and maybe the general one for all the mother tongues, but special for the case that from one city to another city, just like Bu Amalia said, that we have different accent, dialect, something like that. Is it, what needs to be done to make sure that everybody still preserve their own mother tongue? I mean, if language becomes a barrier, sometimes we need to use another common one to understand each other. But in this specific case, Bu Dora, what needs to be done?
Start with your own language. Start with the family.
Okay.
If you already master one language, so to master another language is much more easier. So I think this is the best practice you can use.
Okay, start with your own family. And also, Ibu Amalia as a lecturer, academician too, and would like to know what needs to be done to preserve our mother tongue.
Yeah, it should come from the government and also from the family. Like I said previously, that in Palembang right now, in elementary school, the local content is Bahasa Palembang. I think it's a good idea to start. And also in the family, at least one of the parents should be able to speak the local language or the mother tongue. So when the children are speaking to them, they can use Bahasa mother tongue. I think that's all. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the solution that we need to preserve, not only preserve, but also to be done, not only in Palembang, Indonesia, but also listener from every part of the world. Let's start from our own family. And to end this nice dialogue, I would like to ask both of you, Ibu Dora and also Bu Amalia, what you can say, another thing that you can say to all listeners across the globe about preserving the mother tongue, starting from Ibu Dora.
So I would like to invite all of speakers of any languages in Indonesia, speakers of Bahasa Indonesia, speakers of regional languages, be proud of your language. Use it actively and transfer it to your children. By that, you also contribute to preserve our heritage. I think that's all from me.
Okay, and Bu Amalia.
I also agree with Ibu Dora that the language that can be useful is the language that we use. That's why, to preserve our mother tongue, we should be able to use it everywhere and every day. That's why if I'm talking to my peers or for my students outside the classroom, I will always use Bahasa Palembang.
Good, nice.
Thank you.
It's nice to have an agreement among all of us that we need to use it to promote it. Thank you very much, Ibu Dora Amalia from the Language Agency, and also Ibu Amalia, but Amalia Hasanah from Mandarin Fata Palembang. Thank you very much for joining us in this very nice afternoon conversation, and we wish to have another talk later. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you. Good afternoon. Bye.
Bye. All right, listeners, as we know that we can see outside Indonesia that to make sure that a language, a culture is known by all people, we need to allow some representation. This is the issue that is available outside of Indonesia, but in Indonesia we also begin to realize that by allowing a lot of songs, not only from Java, Jakarta, but also from across Indonesia to be played everywhere. Just like this next one, we have our friends from